The little girl's scream echoed through the forest as her stepmother's hands shoved her into the circle of wolves. But it was the Vampire King's roar that made the entire kingdom tremble when he discovered what had been done to an innocent child. If you have ever felt unwanted, unloved, or cast aside by people who were supposed to protect you, this story will break your heart before it heals it. Before we dive into this journey, I need something from you. Comment right now and tell me where in this world you are watching from. I love knowing that this family spans across continents and countries. And if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button right now and join the fastest growing vampire love stories community on YouTube. Trust me when I say you are special, you found this channel for a reason, and you do not want to miss the stories we have coming for you. Now, let us begin. 8-year-old Celeste pressed herself against the cold stone wall of the cellar, trying to make herself invisible. Above her, she could hear her stepmother's voice, syrupy sweet as she served dinner to her own daughter, Margot. "Another slice of cake, my darling? Of course. You deserve everything beautiful in this world." Celeste's stomach growled. She had not eaten since yesterday morning. A stale piece of bread. But she had learned not to cry about it anymore. Tears only made her stepmother angry. It had been 3 years since her father died. 3 years since the warmth left this house. 3 years since anyone had looked at her with love. She pulled her threadbare blanket tighter and closed her eyes, escaping to memories of her father's laugh, his strong arms, his whispered promises that she would always be safe. He had lied. Not on purpose. But death made liars of everyone who promised forever. Meanwhile, miles away in a castle carved from black mountain stone, Vampire King Nikolai stood in his throne room, listening to reports that bored him to the point of rage. Trade routes. Border disputes. Political marriages proposed by ambitious lords hoping to tie themselves to his power. He waved them all away with barely concealed disgust. 3 centuries he had ruled. 3 centuries alone. He had never taken a queen. Never sired an heir. Never wanted to. Love was a human weakness. Family was a liability. He had learned that lesson in blood and ash long ago. But as he stood there in his empty castle, surrounded by servants who feared him and nobles who wanted to use him, something hollow ached in his chest. He ignored it. As he always did. He did not know that everything was about to change. Neither of them did. The wolves came on the night of the blood moon. Their howls echoed through the village, closer than they had been in years. Celeste heard the panic in the streets, the mothers calling their children inside, the fathers barricading doors. Her stepmother, Helena, stood at the window with Margot clutched protectively against her chest. Her face had gone pale. "They say the wolves are hunting," a neighbor shouted through the door. "They say someone must be offered to appease them, or they will take us all." Celeste watched from the corner where she always sat. She saw something flicker across Helena's face. Something cold and calculating. And then Helena's eyes landed on her. "No," Celeste whispered, recognition dawning like ice water in her veins. "Please." But Helena's jaw set with terrible resolve. She crossed the room in 3 strides and grabbed Celeste's thin arm with bruising force. "Mama, what are you doing?" Margot asked, her voice uncertain. "Saving you, my darling," Helena said without looking away from Celeste. "I am saving you." She dragged Celeste through the streets as the child screamed and clawed and begged. No one stopped them. No one met Celeste's eyes. They all knew what was happening. And their relief that it was not their child made them cowards. The forest loomed ahead, dark and ancient. The howls grew louder. Helena threw open the iron gate that marked the boundary between village and wilderness. Between civilization and death. "Please," Celeste sobbed, her small hands gripping Helena's skirt. Please, I will be better. I will be quieter. I will not eat. I will not even breathe loud. Please do not do this." For just a moment, Helena hesitated. For just a heartbeat, something almost human flickered in her eyes. Then Margot's voice called from behind them. "Mama, come back. I am scared." And whatever humanity Helena possessed died. "You were always the unwanted one," Helena hissed, prying Celeste's fingers from her skirt. "Your father pitied you. I tolerated you. But my daughter deserves to live. And only one of you can." She shoved Celeste through the gate into the forest. The child fell hard onto the frozen ground, her hands scraping against roots and stones. When she looked up, Helena was already closing the gate, her face silhouetted against the village lights. "Mama," Celeste whimpered, using the only word she knew for her mother, even one made of cruelty. "Please do not leave me." The gate locked with a terrible finality, and Helena walked away without looking back. The wolf's eyes appeared first, yellow and hungry, circling in the darkness. Celeste curled into a ball and closed her eyes, too broken even to scream. This was how unloved children died. Alone. Thrown away. Forgotten. But then a different sound cut through the night. A growl that made the wolves whimper and scatter. And a voice, deep and ancient and filled with fury that could crack mountains. "Who did this to you?" Celeste opened her eyes and saw him. Tall as a legend, pale as death, eyes burning red with rage. The vampire king knelt before her, his cloak spreading around them like protective wings. She should have been terrified. Instead, she whispered the truth that broke her. "No one wanted me enough to keep me." And Nikolai, who had not felt his heartbeat in 300 years, felt something inside his chest shatter and remake itself around this broken little girl. Nikolai lifted Celeste as though she weighed nothing, cradling her against his chest. She was so cold. So small. Fragile in a way that made his protective instincts roar to life after centuries of silence. "What is your name, little one?" "Celeste," she whispered, still not quite believing she was not dead. "Celeste," he repeated, and the name sounded like a vow. "I am taking you somewhere safe. Do not be afraid. Are you going to eat me?" A bitter laugh escaped him. "No, child. I am going to keep you." He moved through the forest with supernatural speed, and Celeste buried her face in his cloak, breathing in the scent of night wind and something ancient she could not name. Within minutes, they arrived at his castle. Servants gasped and stepped back as their king entered carrying a human child. Such a thing had never happened. Not once in 3 centuries. "Draw a bath," Nikolai commanded. "Bring food. Soft things. Warm things. And fetch the healer. Now." They scrambled to obey, too shocked to question. He carried Celeste to a guest chamber and set her carefully on a chair by the fire. In the light, he could truly see her. Bruises on her arms. Hollows under her eyes from hunger. Clothes that were little more than rags. Evidence of neglect. Of cruelty. Of a child slowly being erased. His hands clenched into fists. "The woman who did this to you," he said quietly, dangerously. "She was your mother?" "Stepmother," Celeste corrected in a small voice. "My real mama died when I was little. My papa said she was kind. I do not remember her." "And your father?" "Dead. 3 years ago." Her eyes filled with tears. "He loved me. I know he did. But then he was gone and Helena said I was a burden. That Margot was the only daughter that mattered." Nikolai knelt before her, bringing himself to her eye level. "Listen to me very carefully, Celeste. What was done to you was evil. You are not a burden. You are not unwanted. You are a child who deserved protection, and every person who failed you is beneath contempt." She stared at him with wide eyes. "Why do you care? You do not even know me." "Because I know what it feels like to be discarded," he said, the words surprising even himself. "And I will not allow it to happen to you. Not anymore." A servant entered with food. Warm bread. Soup. Fruit. Celeste looked at it like she was seeing treasure. "Eat," Nikolai said gently. "Slowly. You are safe here." As she ate with trembling hands, he stood and walked to the window, his mind already calculating. Already planning. The stepmother had thrown this child to wolves to save her own daughter. That kind of evil did not deserve mercy. And Nikolai was very, very good at revenge. Let me ask you something while we pause here for just a moment. Have you ever been made to feel like you were not enough? Like you were the burden instead of the blessing? Tell me in the comments. This community is built on understanding that pain and rising above it. And listen, I know some of you are still watching without subscribing. You have come this far. You have felt Celeste's pain. You have felt Nikolai's rage. Do not ghost me now. Hit that subscribe button. Join this family. I promise you, what happens next will be worth it. The first week was an adjustment neither of them expected. Celeste did not know how to be a child in a place where she was wanted. She woke before dawn out of habit, creeping to the kitchen to try to earn her keep. The cook found her attempting to scrub floors and nearly wept. "Little miss, you do not work here. You are a guest. You are." But what was she? No one quite knew. Nikolai did not know how to care for a child. He stood outside her door each night, listening to her cry softly into her pillow, wanting to comfort her but having no idea how. On the third night, he finally entered. "Why are you crying?" Celeste sat up quickly, wiping her eyes. "I am sorry. I will be quieter." "That is not what I asked." He sat carefully on the edge of the bed, awkward and uncertain. "Are you in pain? Are you frightened?" "I keep thinking you will change your mind," she whispered. "That you will decide I am too much trouble and send me back." His jaw tightened. "I do not change my mind, Celeste. When I claim something is mine, I keep it. Do you understand? But why would you claim me? I am nobody. You are somebody to me." The words hung in the air between them, surprising them both. Celeste studied his face in the candlelight. "You are not like the stories say. They say the vampire king is cold and cruel and has no heart." "I am cold and cruel," Nikolai said honestly. "But perhaps I have more heart than I thought." "You seem to have found it." A small smile touched her lips. The first real smile he had seen from her. "Will you stay until I fall asleep?" she asked shyly. "My papa used to do that. Before." Something in his chest cracked open wider. "Yes. I will stay." He sat beside her bed as she curled under the blankets. And for the first time in 3 centuries, Nikolai kept vigil over someone who mattered. By the second week, something had shifted. Celeste began to explore the castle. Nikolai found himself rearranging his schedule to take meals with her. Their conversations were stilted at first, but gradually grew easier. "Why do you not have a family?" Celeste asked one evening over dinner. "I did once. A very long time ago." "What happened to them?" His expression darkened. "They were taken from me. By people I trusted. Celeste reached across the table and touched his hand. Her small fingers barely covered his palm. Then we are the same. People took our families away. Nikolai looked down at her hand on his and felt something he had not allowed himself to feel in centuries. Hope. It was the head servant, Mira, who finally told Celeste the truth. They were in the library, where Celeste had discovered a love of books now that she was allowed to touch beautiful things. Mira was dusting shelves, watching the child with soft eyes. You have brought light back to this castle, little one. Do you know that? Celeste looked up from her book. What do you mean? Mira hesitated, then sat beside her. Can I tell you a story? About the king? Celeste nodded eagerly. 300 years ago, King Nikolai was not always alone. He had a younger sister. Her name was Irina. She was bright and kind and full of laughter. He loved her more than anything in this world. What happened to her? Myra's voice dropped. Nikolai's closest advisors betrayed him. They wanted his throne. And they knew the only way to break him was to take what he loved most. So they killed Irina. Made it look like an accident. Celeste's eyes filled with tears. That is horrible. He executed every one of them. But the damage was done. He closed his heart after that. Swore he would never care for anyone again. That love was a weakness that got people killed. Mira smiled sadly. Until a little girl appeared who needed saving. And suddenly, he remembered what it felt like to protect something precious. He sees his sister in me? No, child. He sees a second chance. That night, Celeste could not sleep. She crept through the castle halls until she found Nikolai in his study, staring at a small portrait he thought no one knew about. A young woman with kind eyes and dark hair. Irina. She was beautiful, Celeste said softly from the doorway. Nikolai turned, surprised. You should be sleeping. Mira told me what happened to her. I am sorry. He was quiet for a long moment. I failed to protect her. I was arrogant. I trusted the wrong people. And she paid the price for my blindness. Celeste walked over and took his hand. Is that why you saved me? Because you could not save her? I saved you because throwing away a child is an evil I will not tolerate in my kingdom or anywhere else. His voice softened. But yes. Perhaps part of me needed to prove I could still protect someone. That I was not the failure I have believed myself to be for 3 centuries. You are not a failure, Celeste said fiercely. You are the only person who chose me. Who saw me and decided I was worth keeping. Nikolai knelt down, bringing himself to her level. Celeste, I need to ask you something. And I need you to answer truthfully. Okay. Would you like to stay here? Permanently? Not as a guest. Not as a charity case. He took a breath. As my daughter. Her eyes went wide. You want to adopt me? I want to give you my name, my protection, and my promise that you will never be thrown away again. You will be a princess of this kingdom. You will be educated, protected, cherished. You will want for nothing. His voice grew rough. And I will be the father who never lets you down. Tears streamed down Celeste's face. But what about Helena? What about the village? They might come looking. Let them try. His eyes flashed red. They discarded you. They have no claim. You belong to me now. If you choose this. I choose this, Celeste whispered. I choose you. He pulled her into his arms, and for the first time since Irina's death, Nikolai allowed himself to love without fear. This is the moment everything changes. When broken pieces find each other and create something whole. When a man who swore never to love again opens his heart to a child who thought she was unlovable. Tell me something in the comments. Do you believe people can heal from their past? Do you believe second chances are real? I want to hear your thoughts. And if you are watching this story unfold and feeling every emotion with these characters, but you still have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? I put my whole heart into this. One click. That is all it takes. Join the family. Be part of this community. We are just getting to the best part. The adoption ceremony was small but significant. Nikolai stood before his council and declared Celeste his legal daughter and heir to the vampire kingdom. The nobles were shocked, but none dared oppose him. Not with the fire burning in his eyes. Princess Celeste Nikolaevna. The first human child to ever carry a vampire royal name. She wore a dress of deep sapphire blue, and when Nikolai placed a small silver circlet on her head, her smile could have lit the darkest corners of the castle. How does it feel, little star? He asked, using the nickname that had developed between them. Like I finally have a home. The weeks that followed were filled with a kind of joy neither had known before. Nikolai taught her to read the ancient texts in his library. She taught him how to laugh again, really laugh, with her observations about the stuffy nobles and her endless questions about everything. Why do vampires not like garlic? That is a myth. What about crosses? Also a myth. Sunlight? That one is unfortunately true. So you will never see a sunrise with me? He touched her cheek gently. Some sacrifices are worth making. And I have seen 1,000 sunrises. None of them compare to watching you discover the world. She hugged him fiercely. I love you, Papa. He froze. Then wrapped his arms around her, his voice thick. I love you too, my daughter. More than I knew I could love anything. One evening, he found her in the music room, staring at the piano. Do you play? He asked. Mama used to. My real mama. Papa said she would play for me when I was a baby. Her voice grew wistful. I do not remember it. But sometimes I dream of music. Nikolai sat at the piano bench. Then let me give you new memories. His fingers moved across the keys, and a haunting melody filled the room. Celeste climbed up beside him, watching in wonder. Can you teach me? I can teach you everything, he promised. And he did. Music. Languages. History. Self-defense because his daughter would never be helpless again. He was patient in ways he had never been before. Gentle in ways he had forgotten he could be. The castle staff whispered that the child had performed a miracle. She had given their cold king a warm heart. But Celeste knew the truth. They had saved each other. One night, tucking her into bed, she asked the question he had been waiting for. Papa, what will you do about Helena? His expression went cold. What do you want me to do? I do not know, she admitted. Part of me wants her to be punished. Part of me just wants to forget she exists. She threw you to wolves, Celeste. She chose her comfort over your life. I know. But Margot was there too. And she is just a little girl like me. If you hurt Helena, what happens to her? Nikolai studied his daughter with new respect. You have a kinder heart than I do. You have taught me that I can be strong and kind. That I do not have to choose. She took his hand. I do not want to become cruel just because someone was cruel to me. He kissed her forehead. You are wiser than centuries of kings, little star. We will find a solution that serves justice without creating more orphans. Thank you, Papa. As she drifted to sleep, Nikolai sat beside her and marveled. A month ago, he had been empty. Now he was full. Complete. He should have known that happiness never lasted. Not in his world. The envoy arrived at dawn, bearing the crest of the Human Council of Villages. Nikolai received them in his throne room, Celeste at his side as she always was now. She wore her circlet proudly, her hand clasped in his. The head envoy, a thin man named Aldrich, bowed stiffly. King Nikolai, we come on behalf of a grieving mother whose child was taken from her. Nikolai's eyes narrowed. Explain. Helena Ashwood reports that her stepdaughter was kidnapped by vampires a month ago. She has petitioned the Human Council to negotiate the child's return. Celeste gasped. Nikolai's hand tightened protectively on hers. Kidnapped? His voice was deadly quiet. Is that the story she told? Aldrich shifted uncomfortably. She claims the child wandered into the forest and was taken against her will by your forces. She demands her return to human custody. She is lying, Celeste said, her voice shaking. She threw me to the wolves. She pushed me through the gate to die so she could save Margot. Aldrich's expression was skeptical. That is a serious accusation, child. Do you have proof? My word should be proof enough, Nikolai growled. I found this child abandoned in the forest, surrounded by wolves, freezing and starving. The evidence of neglect was written on her body in bruises and hunger. Nevertheless, the law is clear. A human child belongs with human guardians unless she has been legally adopted by another guardian, Nikolai interrupted. Which she has. Celeste is now Princess Celeste Nikolaevna, my daughter and heir. Helena Ashwood has no legal claim. Aldrich pulled out a scroll. The Human Council does not recognize vampire adoption of human children. It is unprecedented. According to our laws, the child must be returned. Then your laws are unjust. Be that as it may, we have the authority to enforce them. And if you refuse to comply, it will be considered an act of war between our peoples. The threat hung in the air like poison. Celeste looked up at her father, terror in her eyes. Papa, please. Do not let them take me back. Please. Nikolai pulled her against him, his mind racing. If he refused, war would come. Hundreds would die. The fragile peace between humans and vampires would shatter. But if he complied, he would be sending his daughter back to the woman who tried to kill her. I need time to consider, he said carefully. You have 3 days, Aldrich replied. After that, we will come with an army. The envoy left, and Celeste began to cry. Not the quiet tears she had cried before, but broken, desperate sobs. You are going to send me back. I can see it in your face. Never, Nikolai said fiercely, kneeling before her. I will never let that happen. But the war. I do not care about the war. I do not care if I have to fight every human kingdom myself. You are my daughter. And I protect what is mine. But that night, alone in his study, Nikolai faced the impossible choice. Keep Celeste and watch his kingdom burn. Or lose the only light he had found in 3 centuries of darkness. For the first time since he became king, he did not know what to do. And in the village, Helena smiled as she told Margot, "See, darling? I told you we would get the reward money for reporting the kidnapping. That wretched child is finally going to be useful for something." She had no idea that the Vampire King was not a man who forgave, or that her greed had just sealed her fate. We have reached the breaking point. The moment where everything could fall apart. A father who would burn the world for his daughter. A daughter who does not want to be the cause of war. And a stepmother whose cruelty knows no bounds. What would you do in Nikolai's position? Would you choose peace or family? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And listen, if you have made it this far without subscribing, imagine watching all this emotion, all this story, and not being part of what happens next. Do not do me like that. Hit that subscribe button. Join this family. I kept telling myself not to quit on this channel, and your one click keeps me going. Please. Be part of this. Nikolai did not sleep for 3 days. He paced his study, reading every law, every treaty, every ancient text that might provide an answer. On the second night, Celeste crept in to find him surrounded by scrolls. "Papa, you need to rest. I need to find a way to keep you," he said, exhaustion rough in his voice. There has to be something they missed. Some loophole, some precedent. What if I go back? His head snapped up. Absolutely not. Just to testify, she said quickly. In front of the human council. To tell them the truth about what Helena did. If they hear it from me, they will not believe you. You are a child. She is an adult with a carefully crafted story. He shook his head. I will not risk you. But what if you come with me? Celeste moved closer. What if we both go? You are a king. They have to listen to you. And if I tell them what really happened, with you there to protect me, maybe they will see the truth. Nikolai considered this. It was risky. Walking into human territory was dangerous. But it was also bold. Unexpected. And it gave Celeste her voice. If we do this, he said slowly, I need you to be brave. Can you face her again? Can you stand in front of Helena and tell your story without breaking? Celeste straightened her spine, and in that moment, she looked every bit a princess. She made me feel small and worthless my whole life. But I am not that scared little girl anymore. I am your daughter. And I can do this. Pride swelled in his chest. Then we go together. And we show them exactly what kind of woman throws a child to wolves. The next morning, Nikolai sent word to the human council. He would attend their hearing personally. And he would bring evidence. What he did not tell them was that his evidence was not documents or witnesses. It was the truth spoken by a child who had finally found her courage. The human council chamber was packed. Every village elder, every guild master, every person with any authority had come to witness the vampire king's standing trial for kidnapping. Helena sat in the front row, Margot beside her, wearing her best dress and practiced tears. She had coached Margot on exactly what to say. How to look sad and afraid. How to make the council believe that poor Celeste had been stolen. When Nikolai entered with Celeste at his side, the room fell silent. Celeste wore her royal dress and circlet. She walked with her head high, her hand clasped firmly in her father's. She looked nothing like the starving, broken child Helena had thrown away. She looked like a princess. Helena's confident smile faltered. The head counselor, a stern woman named Magistrate Thorn, called the session to order. King Nikolai, you stand accused of kidnapping a human child, Celeste Ashwood, from her lawful guardian. How do you answer this charge? With the truth, Nikolai said, his voice carrying through the chamber. I did not kidnap this child. I saved her from murder. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Helena shot to her feet. Lies. He is trying to. Sit down, Madam Ashwood, Magistrate Thorn commanded. You will have your turn to speak. She turned back to Nikolai. Murder is a serious accusation. Explain yourself. I will do better than explain. I will let my daughter tell you herself what happened. He looked down at Celeste. Are you ready, little star? She nodded and stepped forward. Her voice was small at first, but it grew stronger with every word. My name is Celeste. Helena Ashwood became my stepmother when I was 5 years old, after my papa died. From the first day, she treated me like I was nothing. She gave me scraps of food while her daughter Margot ate until she was full. She made me sleep in the cellar. She hit me when I was too loud or too slow or just because she felt like it. Helena's face had gone pale. The child is lying. She is confused. The vampire has poisoned her mind. I am not finished, Celeste said, and there was steel in her young voice. A month ago, wolves came near the village. Everyone was frightened. A neighbor said someone should be sacrificed to make them leave. And Helena looked at me and decided I was more useful dead than alive. The chamber was utterly silent now. She dragged me to the forest gate while I begged her not to. I promised I would be better. Quieter. That I would not even eat. But she did not care. She threw me through the gate and locked it behind me. She left me there to be torn apart by wolves so that Margot would be safe. Tears streamed down Celeste's face, but her voice never wavered. I thought I was going to die. I was so scared and so cold, and I did not understand why no one wanted me. Why I was so easy to throw away. She looked at Nikolai. And then my papa found me. He saved me when no one else would. He gave me food and warmth and safety. He gave me love. He made me his daughter. Not because he had to. Because he wanted to. She turned back to the council. So no, he did not kidnap me. He rescued me. And if you send me back to her, you are finishing what she started. You are killing me. Just slower. The silence was deafening. Magistrate Thorne looked at Helena. How do you answer these accusations? Helena's mask of grief had cracked completely. Her voice turned shrill. She is being dramatic. Children exaggerate. I fed her. I gave her shelter. So what if I disciplined her? She was difficult. Ungrateful. And when the wolves came, I was protecting my real daughter. What mother would not? The confession hung in the air. Margot stared at her mother in horror. Mama, you said Celeste got lost. You said we were sad she was gone. Be quiet, Margot. But you told me we would get money if we reported it. You said. I said be quiet. The chamber erupted. Counselors shouted over each other. Helena tried to backtrack, but the damage was done. Her own words had condemned her. Magistrate Thorne slammed her gavel down. Order. I will have order. When the room quieted, she fixed Helena with a look of disgust. Madam Ashwood, by your own admission, you endangered a child in your care. You threw her to predators to save yourself the burden of raising her. And then you lied to this council to try to profit from her rescue. I was protecting my daughter. You were committing attempted murder. Thorne's voice was ice. And now you will face the consequences. You are stripped of all parental rights. You will be tried for child endangerment and fraud. And you will never come near Celeste again. Helena screamed and lunged towards Celeste, but Nikolai moved like lightning. He placed himself between them, his eyes burning red. Touch my daughter, he said softly, and what the council does to you will be mercy compared to what I will do. Helena stumbled backward, finally understanding what she had unleashed. Guards took her away, still screaming about injustice. Margot stood alone, crying, until a kind counselor led her away to find family who might actually care for her properly. Magistrate Thorne approached Nikolai and Celeste. "King Nikolai, it is clear that you acted with honor. The adoption stands. Princess Celeste is legally and lawfully your daughter. No one will challenge this again." Relief flooded through Nikolai. He knelt and pulled Celeste into his arms. "It is over, little star. You are safe. You are mine. Forever." She clung to him, sobbing into his shoulder. "I was so scared, Papa. I thought they would make me go back. Never. I would have fought armies. I would have burned kingdoms. But it did not come to that. You were brave enough to tell your truth. And your truth saved us both." They returned to the castle as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. The staff lined the halls, cheering for their princess who had faced her monsters and won. That night, Nikolai tucked Celeste into bed as he did every night now. "Papa, what will happen to Margot?" "She will be placed with family who will hopefully treat her better than her mother did." "I hope so. She was not the one who hurt me. It was not her fault." He stroked her hair. "You have the most forgiving heart, little star. I hope the world never hardens it. You taught me that love is stronger than hate. That being kind does not make me weak." She yawned. "Will you play the piano for me? Like you did before? Every night for the rest of your life if you want." As she drifted to sleep to the sound of his music floating through the castle, Celeste smiled. She had started as an unwanted, unloved child thrown away like garbage. And she had become a princess. A daughter. Someone precious. Not because her blood changed, but because someone finally saw her worth. And in choosing to love her, Nikolai had remembered his own. 3 months later, on the anniversary of the night he found her, Nikolai commissioned a portrait. It showed him seated on his throne with Celeste standing beside him, her hand on his shoulder, both of them looking at the viewer with quiet strength. Beneath it, an inscription in ancient script. "Family is not always blood. Sometimes it is choosing to love what others have thrown away. And discovering that what you saved has saved you in return." Celeste read it and hugged her father tight. "I love you, Papa. I love you, little star. My daughter. My light. My second chance." And the vampire king who had been alone for 300 years was finally, beautifully, complete. So there it is. The stepmother who threw away a precious child faced justice. The little girl who felt worthless discovered she was priceless. And the king who thought he could never love again found that his heart had just been waiting for the right person to heal it. Now I want to hear from you. What was the moment that hit you hardest? Was it when Celeste testified? When Helena's mask fell? When Nikolai said he would burn kingdoms for his daughter? Tell me in the comments. Your thoughts make this community what it is. And if you watched this entire journey, felt every emotion, lived through every twist with Celeste and Nikolai, and you still have not subscribed, I have to ask, what are you waiting for? You are part of this family now whether you have hit the button or not. But make it official. Subscribe. Join us. We have so many more stories to tell. Stories of love and redemption and people finding each other when they need it most. You are special. You found this channel for a reason. Do not miss what comes next. Drop a comment. Hit subscribe. And remember, you are never what someone else decided to throw away. You are what you choose to become. And that choice changes everything. Until the next story, my beautiful family.